trouble. That's what I like about this. See everybody run.
You know, I just see people run. Then he gets a view of us jogging. Come on, Nick. Oh my, good. Megan. Megan. Oh, I'm gonna grab. Yeah. What do you think, bro? I took it off. I had a pretty good laser jacket. It's warmer now. Yeah, it was cute. So I decided everybody can do it.
Hear about your husband. I'm running low on film.
Oh, okay. Found a bunch of pictures.
That's the one I wanted.
Oh no! Don, you do that.
Did you get him that red one?
There's a little swan or something over here in the corner.
That was from Anna suspension is built like
Mom and Dad?
You know, right back behind there's some light, right? Street lights. It lights up the back of the apartment, right? So that's a necessity for her. She wants us to. And I said, you can shut it off, right? So then the Montana Power Company said, well, if you have that shut off, it's powerful. And so Ellen says, well, you don't think that's not our powerful. That's your powerful. You know, and she said, well, I don't know. You will start paying, you know, for this. Yes, you're going to wake up one morning and you're not going to yeah, and I said, I'll tell you, I said, if I want to have a better power,
I don't know. I haven't I told him when he's 100.
You want to try off?
Was that right? Look at them little buggers hiding. Where's my stand?
you can take that now. You gotta use both hands on it though. Now be real careful. Grandma, you can. Yeah, that's something. Yeah, take it, our toys. It was when they closed the door. Well, Grandpa, you're gonna have another piece.
I want that one.
Yeah, you want
That's
grass. Look at that.
Oh yeah. You ruined mine.
I just mowed the grass.
Some other job would be say a summer job. Before I was done, made less money than I made if I had gone back to construction. And that's what would have happened at that point in time. She carried the box and I carried the camera.
I can't ring. I can't do one eye.
That dirty son of a gun.
Can't see out of one?
Oh, I gotta hold it. I can't even find it.
Huh? Let me get out of your way.
There, I got you.
been using the other.
Well,
And then you get back and you don't have either. Then you keep going.
I made a good deal.
Quite hot. Did you bake that?
How's the big business getting?
I'm shivering a little slower.
A little slower now? You getting rich now? Or? No. This is the weather for insulation.
Well, no. No, it's starting to slow down.
Everything seems to be still out of line. He got him a toothpick and he was popping. Should teach him.
Feel it.
Here, smell it.
No, you gotta breathe it in good. You gotta breathe it in good. It doesn't work.
You do.
Are you sucking in that, Healy?
No, come on.
You can talk.
The whole. Just,
If
no,
you do
I'm
that,
not gonna do it. I've made a fool of myself off. You're the guy that untied it. Go for it.
if you do that when you talk real high and real
No, you gotta get a whole inhale like you're
Blow out
inhaling
and
air.
suck in.
Like a cigarette.
when you talk, you're gonna sound like
You ever smoke
Like the first time you tried the cigarette, you choked yourself to death.
Come on, Nicky.
Nah, I ain't gonna do it.
Well, I can do it then.
You're gonna have to inhale it, you chicken.
I did.
No, you didn't.
Well, how else do you inhale?
A whole lungful.
Well, do it.
You're the one that did it.
Your dog, do it.
Oops, there's another fellow.
Did it? Yeah, it worked.
Do that again.
See, I start laughing right away. I can't even do it.
Here. Gotta kill these old men.
You got a hold of it.
And then say something.
There, it worked. That's kind of neat.
Well, we sat around there that one day and just felt like fools. You start laughing so hard your belly hurts.
Didn't some guy kill himself doing that? Trudy, don't do that.
You got me?
Can't find him. Okay, you can tell Grandpa happy birthday.
Hey, Grandpa, happy birthday out there.
I can't.
Did you get it?
I think so.
Did you get it? Okay.
Light is on standby. Always go for the second light. You push each one twice.
Oh, I missed that.
Play it backwards.
Yeah, but isn't it amazing how that you could be standing?
That's not a tweet. The bird hits the ground. I can't whistle. That was my sister.
Walt, you know I'm my own grandpa. You know that song?
Yes, it is.
She'll sing it. She'll sing it.
They don't need the fiddle. You fiddle with the guitar.
Oh. I don't know if I do anymore.
We don't know it. I don't know it. Mom knows it.
Oh, if somebody can play it, I'll try. Somebody sing with me.
Okay.
Oh, many years ago. That's probably good.
Sounds like Many, what is it?
Many years ago when I was away.
You gotta get on it.
I was married
Is it protected?
with her, yes,
Camera.
This winter had grown a daughter with hair red. My father fell in love with her and soon they two were wed. This made my dad my son-in-law and changed my married life. My daughter was mine. I gotta stand up.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen.
Breathe in the chair.
Okay, start over again. I don't have okay. A little faster. A little faster. Many, many years ago when I was 23, I was married to a widow. This widow had a grown daughter who had hair red. Her father fell in love with her and soon they two were wed. This made my dad my son-in-law and changed my married life. My daughter was my mother cause she was my father's wife. To complicate the matters even though it brought me joy, I soon became the father of a lonesome baby boy. My little baby then became a brother-in-law to dad. So he became my uncle, though it made me very sad. Cause if he was my uncle, then that also made him brother of the widow's grown-up daughter, who of course was my stepmother. I'm my own grandpa, hips and earth mix. I'm my own grandpa, and Sandy's fixed up. It sounds funny, I know, but it really is so. I'm my own grandpa.
I know what it is.
Okay, somebody else's turn.
That's dedicated to her. Yeah. Children the whiskey? No. What? Grandpa, we had a lot of crazy. Mary had a little lamb. Mary had a little lamb. Oh, the round one. In a snug little field. That one? You can get it. That one? I'm trying to remember one. Well, you can remember some. Right whiskey? Right whiskey? Snipe it on again, Paul? Oh, that's all right. Clint. Mountain Dew.
Hey, Lynn, do you remember that old tune, Mountain Dew?
Mountain Dew.
Yeah. Let's do it. Okay?
It's good.
Let's do it.
Oh, and that sunshine.
Yeah, that's all.
Where did you live? I don't think so. What's the hazy?
Come on, guys, let's sing it.
I don't know the words. I'm proud. I heard part.
Down the road a mile
She does have any better
About you moving on? Moving on? I don't know this. I don't like the old hound dog.
She said this place homemaker there. She had to go back to her.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, she does.
That's one I was going to say. I get the word hard, right?
You know about the young folks video? That shines bright on my little head. You do have that on. You're being tagged.
Wish Grandpa happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Grandpa. You're being tagged.
Hey, I'll be eating. What else do I do? I do it so well.
After today, I'll never know what your face looks like again.
You'll think she came from Strike Back or something.
This one, grab it.
Get Melissa and Megan. We're going to get our pictures.
I heard a lot about covenants and stuff. It's great.
She likes it. I look so terrible. Just be natural.
Oh, I know. So remember that. Keep your hands
Making me nervous. Just that natural.
Turn to a fire store. I heard one on the radio. I don't know what it was. They said they deliver everything free. 50 miles around the store or something set up.
They're all songs we don't have to before.
I got all kinds of songs that I can't play it. I wanted to hear them. I can't.
They said they stocked up.
There you go. A little louder. Come on.
What one's that?
Pulled the trigger and the gun went ripped and I nailed that hole in the wall like
There's a lot of songs they
missing something?
First two lines.
We need more people.
Try this.
Yeah. Angie!
Come on, Ann. Angie's coming.
Oh, where's Bill? Okay.
So long as you can't see in the back.
If you want to hide, then I'll stick you right out in front. You better be able to see out, or you're going to come down and sit right in front. Kevin, you two sit down in front. Come on, make your way to the front. Come on, you two. Answer Billy in the back. Sit down. You guys stand.
Yeah.
You can get up there. You can see Don right there.
Stand up.
Hey, Jason, stand up or we'll put you right in front.
Get on your knees just like that.
You're supposed to have my protector over here.
Up on your knees.
I'll give these to you. I had him tied to his collar and I thought he was going to go through the ceiling. He was scared stiff.
Okay.
Who's leaving?
Oh, does he have to do it?
Get your face up.
And Megan is someplace.
Got one more or two?
You're gonna have to hang on to these two or they'll leave. Shoot quick, it ain't gonna...
You're missing Leslie or somebody.
Which one? Well, we can't, I ain't got nothing to hang on to except for the little.
Yeah, you can get in. Have you got it on photo or telescopic so you can get a photo? Can you tell Grandpa happy birthday? Got him?
Yeah.
There we go. We got another one. See, they all come over to see what's going on now.
Yes, Dale, by all means.
I've got them all. Got all close-ups.
The big kid in the middle.
I'm one of the kids.
I'm gonna get. Oh, wait a minute, you're not supposed to do that back. There we go. 2 hours. I'm gonna get the
Wait a minute. I gotta run. I gotta
Melissa. Melissa.
Don't forget.
Come on, Melissa.
Dale got it.
Thank you. They want to
Joshua.
Everybody. The kids are running.
Stay here. Take a picture. Okay, we got ours. That's right. Might as well just get all dead. Do a mug shot of everybody. Do a mug shot of everybody.
I'll take it. Get up here. Get right in front.
Jason, come on.
Get in front, Jason.
Oh, there we go.
Get over in front now.
You get to be Ryan and
Right in
Melody.
front.
Boy, that's a lot of people.
People want to
Believe it or not. Everybody's sitting still.
Mom, like Tina just said, are we all sitting still for the motion picture? I know.
Everybody ought to.
You don't have to sit.
Turn your head, Peter.
The cat.
Has anybody got any pearls of wisdom in this bunch?
Are we done?
Are you kidding?
We're trying that.
Where's Billy? What's he doing,
That is a pretty nice family.
Come on. He looks like a loose guy.
I'm gonna text you. You're it now. So let's go.
I don't remember. Just
I was kind of looking forward to seeing Dawn.
Yeah, nobody really sees Dawn.
Oh, look at that. Movie star.
Hey, get that one. Get that one.
But can't get to her.
They're kind of weird.
Have you got a white one?
Oh, what's her name is,
Yeah.
you know. She runs the show, so. Now they're
Almost see her.
vegetarians.
I see. There she comes. There she goes.
Next to it.
Carol.
What?
Baby.
yeah, here they come.
Come and tell me what you're telescoping.
I can't even see. Do you realize that I am
Take your coat off.
blind?
You do what Trude does. She goes like
How's
this.
that? Do it like that?
You can buy it when I want it. No, fake.
I'm left-handed, you know, or left-eyed.
Oh, it'll flop all the way over.
That's all right.
Oh, sit down, hey. Look at Chewie's cooking.
Hey, Mel, what are you gonna have?
Smile, you're on candid camera.
Just go order it.
Okay.
I guess.
Carol,
Smile.
Get your butt over there.
You big clown.
Carol, do you like shrimp?
Yeah?
You want shrimp all you can eat?
You'll have to get your...
Uh-huh, what?
It is. No problem.
It's our what?
It's our what?
It's green or orange.
Whatever you want it to be, it'll be there. She gets prettier every year.
Trudy?
Yeah, she lost 20 pounds.
lost 20 pounds of ugly fat.
She didn't lose her head over the matter either.
I got it.
I told Nick I know how
She
to
lost it. She lost it.
So I found
lady lost 210 pounds of ugly fat. She murdered her husband.
Well, I'm gonna start this new weight loss program. It's called Sharp Knife and Whittle Your Way.
Your way.
They got so many different programs right now.
Well, they cut a hole in it now and they stick a tube in there and suck it out.
That's so gross. That was like
They
unmanageable.
showed that on TV and I
I
thought,
would never watch it. Made me sick.
awful. Just may give me the chills.
Where's your food, Grandpa?
Nick, we should go order.
Where's your
I had a
food?
better idea. I was gonna have you go over.
Well, I can order, but you have to get yourself like
Oh, I thought you went and got some.
Huh?
I thought you were going to get some.
You wanna go
It's
order?
coming. They're gonna get it. I told them to get it.
No, that's
Too
true.
much work.
Can I go order, True?
Man, lose weight. Going walking around here trying to get something to do.
Oh, let's get you.
Trudy, can I go order?
Have to raise your hand.
I know. She's taking me.
What happened to the orange? I don't know. That must be daylight or something. It don't take good in the when you get in the light, direct in the light.
What?
It doesn't take good.
What's my name called?
You girls want to come, huh? Nick, you want to help me with Megan there?
Tina ain't coming.
She isn't coming?
Well, I know she'd have been here, she was.
Well, that's not always true.
Well, what time is it?
It just could be late.
Daddy,
Come on, Nick.
you guys are married.
Come on, Ange. I guess you gotta
Before you don't know.
Yeah, there's green one here.
I mean, this hook's
It's red on the outside. It must mean stop.
Please stay asleep. I'm way too close.
Oh, we didn't tell them the skit we did when Eric.
Okay, turn around, Don.
Oh, really?
behind you.
Naturally, they did.
It's going.
This is happy birthday, everyone.
Hey, you forgot my straw.
That's Grandma.
That's happy birthday.
Helga. Elementary. So many of them.
Just blow one candle.
Oh, I didn't got a man.
Yeah, you did.
I think that's there. Should we light it?
Yeah.
Clinton, start.
Debbie Holland.
What's that mean? 3 people's birthdays? Means happy birthday to everybody, but if we put candles in the cake for everybody. You guys can
Birthday to you. You live in Look at the white Now I can blow the cake out. Should we get a blow the candle out?
I think you better hurry.
Somebody better
What's the matter, you? What about you?
Somebody blew it out, Wesley cheated.
I think if this many kids are gonna blow out the candles, we better put something over the cake.
Jason, take one of the candles. No, I didn't. I was going to That's right.
Well, why can't you? Back
This
up.
rabbit's
You had a
That's
and a raincoat for your
And it was broken? Well, Mom, I'm sorry.
Hey, I'm gonna pull a candle
Just wait a
out.
minute here.
When do I get to pull my candle out?
happy birthday, everyone.
Yep, I can pull my candle out. My candle out.
We gotta see it first.
Oh. Well, I think she probably meant sometime, you know, after the rabbit gets there. And then you guys will have to come out. Well, that would be nice. I'd be happy about that. You think so? Get you everything. light candle killer. Trick candles.
Oh, you withdraw card?
Go high.
What are you going to try to do this summer?
Choose for the Redskins? They won. No, the Redskins won. This is so we don't have to take it. Oh, excuse me. Crappy initiative. Oh, what are we doing? I'm coming back. I thought I was coming back.
I've been addicted to that. At least 2 of them.
Oh, really?
Boy, I'll tell you what. I thought I'd just go out there and just pick them off.
Yeah. Hopefully.
It's just like shooting pheasants.
Couple of how does it sound? Oh, you mean they don't throw them out the sound? Bugging the snot out of elk. Everybody I know who knows, gotta come out here.
I'll be willing to bet you on the street. I'll even give you what is
And all smile please for me. Smile please for me.
Everybody's birthday girl today. This birthday I'm just going to break the side. Yeah, just cut them off. Well, I told everybody, and everybody.
Where is that big girl?
How does Sean like college?
First quarter, he didn't like it well. He likes it better this quarter. He was rushed for 5.
I mean, I appreciate it.
Clubs or whatever they do.
Right. Really? Like T-Club, all of them. Wow. It's terrible. It's something about a camera, you know. Whenever I'm on a camera, I look a lot heavier. I have brunette hair. I'm not a blonde. And they just walk up to me. They make my nose long and my eyes close together. Oh no. That means you're wearing glasses.
Big picture.
That's cold. I like the one we did with Eric. Nick, did you tell him the one we did with Eric? Video camera.
Fred Sayers camera, and he was wondering what she was doing. So we made a commercial for Himber and So yeah, we lost it up real quick.
I mean, we didn't know the camera was on. We're getting Eric ready
I
with
didn't
this
know
whole
it was on. I just push it, and then we on and push it. And I had the impression he had to hold the button down. So I pushed it and I let go of it, and I thought it was soft, you know. So we're sitting there, setting up everything, this camera sitting there.
What? The fourth in there? Sound big. Wesley. Oh no. Say cake. 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 Smile for the camera, Wesley. The camera's on him. Hi. You're gonna see this. Everybody's gonna see it. They're gonna put it on TV. Oh God.
Better get up there.
I'm hiding from the camera.
Oh, you don't do that.
Joshua. What?
Joshua, are you
You're being seen on TV. That was straight in my face. Hey, Joshua. Josh. Josh. Smile for the camera, please. They don't like me. They don't like me. Camera, please.
Even in the open. Oh, yeah. Is the green light on? Wide open.
I don't know if it was good moist.
Yeah. Lots of
Right on the heat outside.
We settled our job for a long time. This is good because we were putting it in a pile in the back. We'd go out there in July and steam's coming off that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And it got so hot and you put your hand in it.
It will also smell like alcohol. It's so hot that it almost burns.
Oh yeah, it's just, it's on the verge of burning your hand.
Yeah.
I've seen people do it though. They'll continue to do it. I already told the guy one time about it. He said, well, I tried to give him a bid on certain tiles. I said, I don't think it's because I've got hay out here in my field. They put it around the house. I said, yeah. He said, they estimate we'll give you a bid to rebuild your house.
We'll give you a bid on the salvage in your burned up house.
Insurance job.
Huh? Are you keeping busy?
It's like
Not really. I've been doing those
big sawdust piles down on Preserve Street.
What? I said I've been doing those cabinets.
Who knows,
There's 2 buttons in there.
Tell me everything you know. You got a second, Beverly.
I'll have to go back.
Boy, all that
Can I repeat that, Beverly?
all that wisdom compacted into 1 second. How
This boggles.
When will Nick be back here?
If it works out right, he'll be here like I don't know. If he was almost every other weekend. I know he's stressed in the spring.
Now, this is
Busy now, I'm eating. Stephanie. Didn't have any reloads.
See how that's done?
Good.
Now it's Nick's turn to show us how to eat cake.
now we hand him 2 pieces of cake.
2 pieces of cake. Are you on a diet?
He wants a demonstration.
Don't give it to him, Melanie. Now this is how Bill eats cake.
Mel and I decided we were going to see if we could catch that pond. We knew there was only 4 or 5 inches of water in the creek. We were churned up across the creek after that pond. I went right across the creek. Mel wasn't 6 feet from me, went out of sight. It came over a log.
He didn't say
And the water did, and it just followed out a hole.
This is how we eat cake.
It wasn't actually over his head, but by falling into it, I mean, he fell down into the hole. And he disappeared right beside me. Pond got away.
You're still waiting for that cake, huh?
Now this is how Nick and Himber eats cake.
Because we were probably really lucky to get a hold of that.
Yeah, put it on.
bring that thing, when you guys come over next week, bring that thing over.
I'm gonna.
I'd like to, I'd like him to get Megan on DVD.
Why don't you just walk?
They start
It's what? There's a wide angle is where your finger is, and the other end is zoom.
Our Zoom?
Yeah. Let's go. Sit down. And you got wide angle.
How to
You
get
got the green light on?
but how do I get it back?
Do you care if the boys have ice cream?
Push on wide angle.
It doesn't really matter. She's gonna get a cone ice cream. Yeah.
You got him?
Yep.
Why are you going?
Just get out of here.
Megan's.
Can you see her? You watch her?
Show how Melanie eats cake.
No, don't show him how Melanie eats cake. Hey, it's better than the way Nick eats cake. We got him with a big drumstick. Nick the barbarian calls it. No.
They don't talk.
Did you figure out which thumb you were pushing?
Where are they?
You can zoom right in on what they're eating.
But, you know, and I was like I was telling Bill, that, you know, it's really
With lights on.
Where did the kids go?
She wanted to show you something.
All the kids went under the table.
Okay, show Grandma. I keep her. No, I keep her. I keep her. I keep her. Hey, Nick. Now, eat her. Now do chin chopper, chin chopper.
I can't, now I see Tammy's back. Can't find your kids.
Ice cream has to be trouble.
Okay. Oh, there.
I want to just see if we have it. Here we go.
Anyway, bring the camera out. You wouldn't do this to her.
Oh, I got a lot of backs.
I know. That's true. Get it? Listen. How come you wouldn't do it?
Look, Daddy's got the camera there.
Oh,
Yeah. Don't let him fill you up.
Fill me right up, huh?
What's Dad doing? He's laughing. He must be doing something.
That was good for a laugh.
Here's Dad.
Back and forth.
Okay.
Nick, where's Megan?
That sounds good.
I don't know.
But you don't get two color back.
We can take her in a second.
Rub your tongue.
Did she go in with Debbie?
Wow. He's got to make
Oh
it.
yeah, she was running in the bathroom.
And then somebody else was running.
I saw her in there.
You ever been down to Royal Mountain?
Wait a minute.
No wonder we did so well when Eric was here.
Is this good? How's Eric doing?
Really good. He's got 18 credits, so he's really booking it this quarter. Plus, they were having him work almost all the time. I guess.
Is he, when's he going to get done with school or whatever? He's a professional
Student. He's at Chicago, Trinity Baptist with John Patton.
We had a friend that was professional too. He started out, he was, I don't know, accountant, let's say. Then he decided, he got done with that, so then he decided he was going to be a doctor. So he went to do that. And I think probably in order to get out of college, he'll learn college now.
He's still going to do the same thing he used to do. He's ready in the past. Yeah, I think there's a couple more years again. He wants to come out here. They miss it out here really bad.
Is he married?
Yeah. And she loves it out here.
found somebody that likes it.
Yeah, usually he liked the ones that didn't like him.
That's the reason I got through and she liked me.
And you liked her.
Oh no.
And she, oh, you didn't like her. But you just told her she's better than you. She's getting more beautiful.
Come up and touched on the well, that's the same as the VCR. 3 or 4 times, shot at 300.
It was humongous. I got a cute little button the last weekend this evening. Just like mine. And I wish it did. It's one of the points that
Like the record, true.
yours didn't have it on the other side. That's what they call it. But I had one of them, you know, and I was just wishing the other side had been the same.
I like them when they're I think they're neat.
There's a 5x7.
VHS is what they call a 4-man. They got 2 kinds.
Look at these two. Look at these two right here together.
Beta.
They were holding on to each other.
Xenon uses Beta. Everybody else is used the VHS. That's all that means.
I'll never do it again.
The tape will interchange between that and the Beta. But the VCR is a VCR. This is a VCR camcorder. I've got a VCR tape.
I'm going to stick her face on the cake.
I thought VHS was another type of tape they had or something.
One of the 2 times. Then I got 2. I actually got 3. But they got a...
His mom's not here.
That's a totally different thing.
Well, if you don't know, a guy.
The neat thing about that, that's the same size tape as what you play in the big ones that sell on TV. This is exactly the same thing.
Look! Who is that? Camera, come on. We've got to do this again. Let her walk down it. Watch it. Yeah, that's what that's right there. Well, the red grandma's gone. No, Megan, not that Megan. Megan, that's good. I just wanted a cute little picture of 2 girls walking down the stage. That's all we Megan, Jesse.
some other witness has testified in a way they don't agree with, they may wish to have another day in court. And I just don't know where that's going to end.
I think
if indeed Mr. McFarland feels that Mr. North's testimony was at variance with his experience, I suspect the same thing may be true of every other witness we have heard or will hear.
it is a problem that we will have to face as they are presented to us, and I'm certain that we will do our best to abide with the rule of fairness. Yes, sir.
As I understand it, Mr. McFarland requested the committee for the opportunity to appear to testify.
Senator,
is that correct? And the committee was therefore faced with having to decide whether to accede to that request, and his appearance today represents a decision by the chair that he should be allowed to come and testify. He was not recalled by the committee. Is that correct?
The senator is eminently correct, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And I think it should be noted that Mr. McFarland initially appeared before us and does so again without any grant of immunity. I have been advised, Mr. McFarland, that you have a statement that you wish to make.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Please proceed, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Has this statement been filed with us for 48 hours?
No, it has not been, because the request came in yesterday.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the opportunity to take part once more in the committee's efforts to use these hearings on the Iran-Contra matter to identify ways in which the processes used to formulate and carry out American foreign policy can be improved. Since last I was here, the committee has heard very important testimony. In particular, I would cite that of Ollie North. Perhaps as never before in this administration, the nation has treated to a comprehensive explanation of just what United States interests are in Central America, how those interests are threatened, and why our support for the Contras was, and is, in my judgment, still justified. It was a superb performance, passionate in delivery, and persuasive in argument. And for it, all of us, I think, are deeply indebted to Colonel North. In addition, as a personal opinion, I believe that everything that has been said by committee members and others about Colonel North's bravery and devotion to his country is true, and I say that as one who knows, for I have worked with Ollie for many, many years. As is to be expected, just as new testimony sheds light on previous areas of darkness, it may also raise new questions which require further illumination. Such is the case here. For just as millions, literally millions of Americans found themselves saying over and over again during Ollie's testimony, his goals were certainly right, or I agree with the ends that he was seeking. Many of the same people found themselves asking, I wonder if the means have to include lying, or do we really want to keep the Congress completely in the dark? Or shouldn't there be some system of accountability? I'm here today because I want the record to be clear regarding my beliefs about how our government should function in the sensitive area of covert actions under our Constitution. I believe accountability is at the heart of our system of government. Also, while recognizing that the recollections of detail of events may differ between people, that honest witnesses who are busy with many matters inevitably will have different recollections of the same events many years later. And there's also the tendency for recollection to be colored by the way one would have liked to have acted, not the way in which one in fact did. And there are, in my judgment, some core facts about which I feel it's necessary to speak. At the outset, there seems to me to be a consensus, at least within the committee, regarding the legitimacy of and need for covert actions. Simply put, we aren't in a competition with a democratic opponent. For the other side, unrestrained covert actions are a way of life. And just as they support Leninist political parties in developing countries, we had better be able to use a range of means to support people who aspire to freedom, or they will perish, and our own freedom, as we know it, will be in jeopardy. I also believe there is a consensus around the proposition that both the funding level and the intended scope of covert activities should be relatively modest any foreign policy issue that involves threats to truly vital national interests, the resolution of which will take significant funding for a long period of time, had better have the understanding and support of the American people going in. That support is engendered by vigorous public debate, something that is impossible in the case of covert actions, which must remain private. Well, if we agree on these 2 points, then the question becomes how covert actions ought to be conducted so as to maximize the prospects for their success, as well as to minimize the damage if they fail. It seems to me that the answer to this question, especially under conditions of governance that we face today, in which one party occupies the White House and the other control of the Congress, must be cooperation and compromise between the 2 branches. Needless to say, such an approach is inherently infeasible if either branch lacks integrity. That is, if either the executive branch ignores congressional restriction or fails to give the Congress full and complete information, or, alternatively, if the Congress cannot protect the secrecy of information it is given, or through frequent changes of law demonstrates irresolution, as it certainly has here. Coming to cases, the issue before you concerns what went wrong when the Congress and the President disagreed over U.S. support for the Contras. First, if preventing the consolidation of an alien regime in Nicaragua was so important, the President should not have pinned his hopes in 1981 on a covert action for the reasons that I've discussed in earlier testimony. Second, once he did so, however, the Congress, in my judgment, worsened matters considerably by requiring the United States to break faith with these people before the policy had been given a fair chance to be tested. Third, notwithstanding the congressional vacillation, once the Congress spoke, the administration should have listened, even though to do so would have surely involved a tragic loss of life among those in Nicaragua who had become publicly and fatally identified by the Sandinistas. Alternatively, the administration could have chosen, as it apparently did, to disregard the Congress and pursue support for the Contras, relying entirely on private support. In my judgment, doing so was wrong for 3 reasons. First, there was very little prospect that this course would have been sustained by private funding at anywhere near the levels that could be poured in by the Soviet Union from the other side. In short, it would ultimately fail, and at a much larger cost in terms of human lives. Second, it would be politically unwise to do so, for by going it alone without congressional support, the current furor was almost guaranteed. And when it came, the President would be, as he is today, without allies to share in the defeat. Third, however, and most important in my judgment, to have chosen to establish a legal precedent concerning the President's sole responsibility to conduct foreign policy on an issue that was so poorly understood by the people of this country, and by behaving as if the President is not accountable to anyone, is simply wrong. The concept of accountability is firmly rooted in our political history for a very good reason. While in time of war, one might imagine a justifiable transgression of law by a president to avoid a catastrophe, even the limited exercise of this license has been a matter in which presidents have traditionally been very careful to enlist the support of members in Congress who would be there to share the blame if something goes wrong. The other reason for assuring accountability is also compelling. Without accountability, the temptation for a president to go beyond prudent limits to salvage a failing policy, especially if the majority in office is of the opposite party, will be virtually irresistible. And in circumstances of distress, while relying upon private parties who may not be competent or incorruptible, the margin for not just failure, but for the establishment of a climate of enduring hostility with the Congress is dangerously high. Colonel North testified that I gave him general authority to conduct covert operations involving widespread military and paramilitary activities based upon the position that the Boland Amendment did not apply to the NSC staff. He also stated that he kept me advised of all of his activities. Colonel North did report to me from time to time on a few, but certainly not all, of the activities that went beyond mere political support for the Contras. The committee has seen those memoranda, all 6 of them. One, for example, involved his request for permission to ask a private U.S. donor to provide a helicopter to the Contras. I specifically disapproved this proposal and noted that I did not believe that it was legal. On other memoranda in which Colonel North asked me to solicit funds from foreign governments, I rejected the proposals, and that is stated on the face of those documents, and you have them. On other memos, I did not respond, or the proposals were mooted by events. But implicit in all this was the premise that the Boland Amendment governed our actions. This is not to say that it isn't reasonably and properly subject to a court test, and I believe it should be. But on my own, I determined that because I had engaged, and Don Fortier had engaged, for days and weeks with members of this committee and others, chairmen and ranking members of the House Foreign Affairs Committee and Senate counterpart, and others who would vote on this measure spent literally days and nights trying to forge compromise. At the end of it, we lost. And it was very evident that the intent of the Congress was that this amendment applied to the NSC staff. So it was a political judgment on my part, without prejudice to the legal position that must ultimately be determined by the courts. And I think also that the evidence that surely I did believe that the Boland Amendment applied to the NSC staff is expressed in the fact that otherwise, why would we have worked so hard to get rid of it after it was passed? If we felt that we were not covered, what was I doing? What was Don doing coming up here day after day trying to get rid of it? Colonel North testified that he and Director Casey had agreed upon a full-service operation to support the Contras using non-appropriated funds. I never heard of any such full-service operation from either Director Casey or Colonel North.
Such as nuclear war, violent and widespread internal dissent, or national opposition to a U.S. military invasion abroad. And I would ask you, did you participate in or advocate any such plan to suspend the Constitution in the event of national crisis such as nuclear war, violent and widespread internal dissent, or national opposition to U.S. military invasion abroad?
Absolutely not.
To your knowledge, has the government of the United States adopted any such plan, or does it have in place, in being, any such plan?
No, sir. None.
Well, I felt it important to ask those questions of you. Let me say the Intelligence Committee's
will be in the process of being briefed. We've had periodic briefings on our emergency plans in terms of nuclear attack in the past. We intend to have additional briefings on the status of these plans, and that would be the appropriate place for those briefings to take place. But I felt it very important that we put those questions to you and put them into the public record in light of the concern that had been expressed to me about.
I thank you, Senator Bourne.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Rodino.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'd hoped that it would not be necessary for me to come back today, but I had assumed yesterday when the chairman decided that I was not to continue that I had 5 extra minutes allotted to me by Mr. Raspin. Nonetheless, not to take any further time. Colonel North, I have just a few questions, and I'm sure that you can answer them probably either yes or no. They're very simple questions. These committees have heard evidence that DEA agents worked with you in your efforts to locate and free the hostages held in Lebanon. My question, did you brief the Attorney General on that activity?
It is my recollection that I did personally brief the Attorney General. I don't recall the specific meeting. In the records I turned over to the committee, there is reference to that briefing, and I believe in the documents that the committee was provided by the White House.
Does it identify the date, Colonel?
I do not recall that, but we did discuss that, I believe, in perhaps it was executive session. But my recollection is that I personally briefed the Attorney General on it.
Thank you. Did you tell the Attorney General that private funds were going to be used to bribe foreign officials and others to locate and free the hostages?
That is my recollection, sir.
Did the Attorney General ever tell you that it would not be proper for you to use government funds to bribe foreign officials and others, but that it would be acceptable to use private money for that purpose?
Let me just clarify one point in this. First, to answer who told me what, my recollection is that Director Casey and the Director of Operations at CIA had both indicated that U.S. government monies could not be used for those purposes. And I don't recall asking the Attorney General whether or not it was appropriate to use U.S. monies. It may well have been that the DEA officers themselves made it known that those monies, U.S. government monies, couldn't be used for those purposes. I also want to specify it was not, when you say bribing foreign officials, I'm not entirely certain that they were foreign officials.
Foreigners.
Foreigners, yes, sir. But in any event, I came to understand, by virtue of my discussions, certainly with Director Casey, I think with the Director of Operations at Langley, possibly with officers in the FBI with whom I worked on counterterrorism, that we couldn't use U.S. government monies for those purposes and that we would use outside monies.
But the Attorney General, as you recollect, did not advise you.
I do not believe the Attorney General recommended one way or the other on that, sir.
My last question on this subject, did you tell the Attorney General that expenses for the DEA agents were paid for from private sources such as Albert Hakim, Richard Miller, and Adolfo Calero?
I honestly don't recall the full nature of that discussion. I do know that in a memorandum I did for Admiral Poindexter on this, that I did specify where the source of funds was coming from, and I believe I probably told the Attorney General that. But I do not recall the conversation with specificity.
One final question, Colonel. In your response to Mr. Niels the other day, with reference to a question concerning a meeting on November the 21st, you made some reference to the Attorney General, and let me read you the statement. And so that is early on November 21st, these are your words, before this committee.
Which year are we talking about, sir?
We're talking about statement that you made the other day before this committee with reference to the meeting of November the 21st of 1986.
Okay.
And your answer to Mr. Niels, and so that is early on November 21st, because I believe the decision was the decision to make an inquiry, to have the Attorney General, and then you added, and this is what I'm confused about, or Mr. Meese, in his role as a friend of the President, conduct a fact-finding excursion on what happened in September and November in 1985. I assure the Admiral you were talking about, don't worry, it was all taken care of. My question, when you refer to Mr. Meese as a friend of the President, why do you use that term?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what I meant in those terms. What I clearly intended to say was that no one told me then, it was not until 4 days later, on the 25th, that there was any criminal investigation or criminal concern in this whole issue. And my recollection is that the Admiral told me that morning, or that day at some point, that there was going to be a fact-finding inquiry conducted by Mr. Meese, not in his role as Chief Law Enforcement Officer or as Attorney General, but because he was close to the President. He was a person the President relied upon to be able to get to the bottom of all this.
In other words, your answer then is that Admiral Poindexter said to you that Mr. Meese would be coming to conduct an inquiry, but he would be coming as a friend of the President.
Yeah, again, I'm making the characterization. I don't believe Admiral Poindexter said he's coming as the friend of the President. My recollection of the discussion...
You just used those terms.
I understand, but I'm saying that was my characterization, not the Admiral's characterization. Yeah. Does that answer the question? I mean, what I'm saying to you, Mr. Rodinho, is that I characterized it after the fact as that kind of an inquiry. At the point in time, I would guess, and I don't recall the specifics of it.
Is there any reason why you wanted to characterize it?
Yes, I want to make it very clear that I had absolutely no inkling of criminal investigations, criminal inquiry, criminal behavior, anything criminal until the 25th of November, 1986. I mean, when the Admiral told me that, it was, in fact, I don't even think he said the Attorney General was coming. It was the Attorney General was going to send some people over, or Mr. Meese is going to send some of his people over, one of those kinds of things. But the characterization I gave it in my discussion with Mr. Niels was my characterization, not the Admiral's.
You assumed that he would be coming as a friend to make a friendly inquiry?
Yeah, what I'm saying is, I assumed he was coming not as a criminal investigator. No mention was made to me when the officers arrived in my office on Saturday morning, the 22nd. Nobody said, we're going to conduct a criminal inquiry into your behavior, North, or the documents that you've got. It was simply described to me as a fact-finding inquiry. I think those were the three words that were used. And as I indicated to you earlier, on Friday, I started laying out the documents. And the characterization I gave Mr. Niels is one that the spin that I put on it, and as I have described it to you here in the committee.
Thank you, Colonel North. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sarbanes.
Mr. Chairman, because of the assertions which will appear on the printed record, questioning the fairness of this committee, I think it's important to place on the printed record a demonstration of committee fairness, which I think has been very visible and obvious to all of us as we have sat through this hearing. and to those who have watched it, and that is that Colonel North's counsel has had unlimited scope throughout these proceedings to defer his responses to questions while they engaged in consultation and counsel. And that has happened frequently and often, and I simply underscore it to place it on the printed record, because although it is very visible, unless a statement is made about it, it will not appear in the printed record, reflecting, I think, a very significant measure of fairness extended to the Colonel in his testimony before this committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Since a very brief second round has been permitted, I just wanted to avail myself of that window of vulnerability. I just want to say to Colonel North, we have heard a great deal, and a lot of it quite learned conversation and talk about the Constitution. And there have been some serious allegations made about your conduct with reference to the Constitution. And I just want to say to you, Colonel, that part of that fundamental document of our country contains some words about bills of attainder. Now, bills of attainder are legislative findings of guilt. And it may comfort you to know, and I'm sure you already know it, that the Constitution forbade bills of attainder. So I just thought that little bicentennial note might help. And as long as we're talking about fundamental documents of this country, our birthday certificate, the Declaration of Independence, has some comments that might refer to an earlier comment by the distinguished junior senator from Maine who said God does not pick sides on political questions, and I am happy to agree with that. But the Declaration does say, in Jefferson's magnificent words, that we are all endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, if Jefferson was right, and I fervently believe he was, I would suggest that God doesn't pick sides on political questions, but wherever God is, and I believe he's everywhere, including Nicaragua, I just bet he's on the side of liberty and human dignity. And so with those words, I thank you very much for your enduring your ordeal so well today. Thank you.
Any further questions? Senator Redmond?
Mr. Chairman, I take this opportunity as a point of privilege as the Vice Chairman of the committee not to address any comments or questions to Colonel North, but because something has occurred in the last 48 hours or the last 72 hours that I'm sure is a small minority of the American people. And yet, it has been so disturbing to me that I wanted to say what I'm going to say, probably over the Chairman's objections. And I'm sure Colonel North will agree with every word that I say. I am sure of that. We received some calls in the committee and in our offices over the last 72 hours of ugly ethnic slurs against our chairman. And other kinds of calls that were extraordinarily insulting to the members of this committee. Colonel North has been respectful of this committee. I think this committee has been respectful of Colonel North. But there seems to be a vision out there, not shared by this witness or his counsel or by most Americans, about this committee that I want to set straight. Represented on this panel are 16 members who served in the service, 8 who served in combat, a number with great distinction, with medals for valor and heroism from Guadalcanal to the Lingayen Gulf. The chairman was recommended for the Congressional Medal of Honor. for assaulting 2 German machine gun nests in northern Italy, and then failing on the 3rd one, which was destroying his company, when he lost his arm, which he left on that battlefield in Italy. He holds the nation's 2nd highest award, the Distinguished Service Cross. He is one of the greatest men I have ever known, and the country ought to know the kind of leadership the Senate chairman exerts. And for all Americans to condemn the kind of ethnic slurs that have no place in America. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I fully agree, Mr. Rudman.
I thank you very much. Colonel North, we're just about finished. Do you have any final statement to make, sir?
A very brief one, sir.
Please proceed.
I would simply like to thank the American people who have responded with their good wishes, their support, their prayers through what has been for me and my family a long and difficult ordeal. I thank them for that, and I salute them. That is my statement, sir.
Thank you very much. And now it's my privilege and great honor to recognize the chairman of the House Select Committee, Congressman Hamilton.
Mr. Chairman, may I express to you my personal appreciation for the manner in which you have presided over these committees these last several days. You've had some rather difficult moments. I think you have been firm and fair, and you have kept these proceedings moving along, and all of us are most grateful to you. Colonel North, let me join with others in expressing my appreciation to you for your testimony, and as the chairman has indicated, I will use my time just to give you some of my impressions. I recognize that a president and those carrying out his policies sometimes face agonizing choices, and you've had more than your share of them. I've never for a moment, over the years that I have known you, doubted your good intentions. To free hostages, to seek democracy in Nicaragua, to fight communism, and to advance the best interests of the nation. And for many in this country, I think the pursuit of such worthy objectives is enough in itself or in themselves and exonerates you and any others from all mistakes. Yet what strikes me is that despite your very good intentions, you were a participant in actions which catapulted a president into the most serious crisis of his presidency, drove the Congress of the United States to launch an unprecedented investigation, and I think probably damaged the cause or the causes that you sought to promote. It is not my task, and it is not the task of these committees to judge you. As others have said, we're here to learn what went wrong, what caused the mistakes, and what we can do to correct them. And the appropriate standard for these committees is whether we understand the facts better because of your testimony. And I think we do, and we're grateful to you. In your opening statement, you said that these hearings have caused serious damage to our national interests. But I wonder whether the damage has been caused by these hearings or by the acts which prompted these hearings. I wonder whether you would have the Congress do nothing after it has been lied to and misled and ignored. Would we in the Congress then be true to our constitutional responsibilities? Is it better under our system to ignore misdeeds or to investigate them behind closed doors, as some have suggested? Or is it better to bring them into the open and try to learn from them? I submit that we're truer to our Constitution if we choose the latter course. These committees, of course, build on the work of other committees, and I think that work is part of our constitutional system of checks and balances. There are many parts of your testimony that I agree with. I agree with you that these committees must be careful not to cripple the president. I agree with you that our government needs the capability to carry out covert actions. During my 6 years on the Intelligence Committee, over 90% of the covert actions that were recommended to us by the president were supported and approved. And only the large-scale paramilitary operations, which really could not be kept secret, were challenged. I agree with you when you said in your opening statement that you're caught in a struggle between the Congress and the President over the direction of American foreign policy, and that most certainly is not your fault. And I agree with you that the Congress, whose record in all of this is certainly not unblemished, also must be accountable for its actions. Now let me tell you what bothers me. I want to talk about two things. First, policy, and then process. Chairman Inouye has correctly said that the business of these select committees is not policy, and I agree with him, but you made such an eloquent and impassioned statement about policy that I wanted to comment. I am very troubled by your defense of secret arms sales to Iran. There's no disagreement about the strategic importance of Iran or the desirability of an opening to Iran. My concern is with the means employed to achieve those objectives. The President has acknowledged that his policy, as implemented, was an arms for hostage policy. And selling arms to Iran in secret was, to put it simply, bad policy. The policy contradicted and undermined long-held, often articulated, widely supported public policies in the United States. It repudiated U.S. policy to make no concessions to terrorists, to remain neutral in the Gulf War, and to stop arms sales to Iran. We sold arms to a nation officially designated by our government as a terrorist state. This secret policy of selling arms to Iran damaged U.S. credibility. A great power cannot base its policy on an untruth without a loss of credibility. Friendly governments were deceived about what we were doing. You spoke about the credibility of U.S. policy in Central America, and you were right about that. But in the Middle East, mutual trust with some friends was damaged, even shattered. The policy of arms for hostages sent a clear message to the states of the Persian Gulf, and that message was that the United States is helping Iran in its war effort and making an accommodation with the Iranian Revolution, and Iran's neighbors should do the same. The policy provided the Soviets an opportunity they have now grasped, and with which we are struggling to deal. The policy achieved none of the goals it sought. The Ayatollah got his arms. More Americans are held hostage today than when this policy began. Subversion of U.S. interests throughout the region by Iran continues. Moderates in Iran, if any there were, did not come forward. And to those moderates are showing fidelity to the Iranian Revolution by leading the charge against the United States in the Persian Gulf. In brief, the policy of selling arms to Iran, in my view at least, simply cannot be defended as in the interests of the United States. There were, and there are, other means to achieve that opening, which should have been used. Now let me comment on process as well, first with regard to covert actions. You and I agree that covert actions pose very special problems for a democracy. It is, as you said, a dangerous world, and we must be able to conduct covert actions, as every member of this panel has said. But it is contrary to all that we know about democracy to have no checks and balances on them. We've established a lawful procedure to handle covert actions, It's not perfect by any means, but it works reasonably well. In this instance, those procedures were ignored. There was no presidential finding in one case and a retroactive finding in another. The intelligence committees of the Congress were not informed, and they were lied to. Foreign policies were created and carried out by a tiny circle of persons, apparently without the involvement of even some of the highest officials of our government. The administration tried to do secretly what the Congress sought to prevent it from doing. The administration did secretly what it claimed to all the world it was not doing. Covert action should always be used to supplement, not to contradict, our foreign policy. It should be consistent with our public policies. It should not be used to impose a foreign policy on the American people which they do not support. Mr. McFarland was right. He told these committees it was clearly unwise to rely on covert action as the core of our policy. And as you noted in your testimony, and I agree with you, it would have been a better course to continue to seek contra funding through open debate. You have spoken with compelling eloquence about the Reagan doctrine. Laudable as that doctrine may be, it will not succeed unless it has the support of the Congress and the American people. Secondly, with regard to process, let me talk about accountability. What I find lacking about the events as you have described them is accountability. Who was responsible for these policies, for beginning them, for controlling them, for terminating them? You have said that you assumed you were acting on the authority of the President. I don't doubt your word, sir, but we have no evidence of his approval. The President says he did not know that the National Security Council staff was helping the Contras. You thought he knew, and you engaged in such activities with extraordinary energy. You do not recall what happened to the 5 documents on the diversion of funds to the Contras. Those documents radically changed American policy. They are probably, I would think, the most important documents you have written. Yet you don't recall whether they were returned to you, and you don't recall whether they were destroyed, as I recall your testimony. There's no accountability for an $8 million account earned from the sale of U.S. government property. There is no accountability for a $250,000 account available to you. You say you never took a penny. I believe you. But we have no records to support or to contradict what you say. Indeed, most of the important records concerning these events have been destroyed. Your testimony points up confusion throughout the foreign policy making process. You've testified that Director Casey sought to create an on-the-shelf, self-sustaining, stand-alone entity to carry out covert actions, apparently without the knowledge of other high officials in the government. You've testified there was an unclear commitment to Israel concerning replenishment of missiles to Iran. You've testified that it's never been U.S. policy not to negotiate with terrorists. Yet the President has said the opposite, that we will never negotiate with terrorists. You have testified that a lot of people were willing to go along with what we were doing, hoping against hope that it would succeed, and willing to walk away when it failed. My guess is that's a pretty accurate description of what happened. But it's not the way to run a government. Secret operations should pass a sufficient test of accountability. And these secret operations did not pass that test. There was a lack of accountability for funds and for policy. And responsibility rests with the President. If he did not know of your highly significant activities done in his name, then he should have. And we'll obviously have to ask Admiral Poindexter some questions. Now, the next point with regard to process relates to your attitude toward the Congress. As you would expect, I'm bothered by your comments about the Congress. You show very little appreciation for its role in the foreign policy process. You acknowledge that you were, quote, erroneous, misleading, evasive, and wrong, end of quote, in your testimony to the Congress. I appreciate, sir, that honesty can be hard in the conduct of government. But I am impressed that policy was driven by a series of lies. Lies to the Iranians, lies to the Central Intelligence Agency, lies to the Attorney General, lies to our friends and allies, lies to the Congress, and lies to the American people. So often during these hearings, not just during your testimony, but others as well, I have been reminded of President Thomas Jefferson's statement. The whole art of government consists in the art of being honest. Your experience has been in the executive branch, and mine has been in the Congress. Inevitably, our perspectives will differ. Nonetheless, if I may say so, you have an extraordinarily expansive view of presidential power. You would give the president free rein in foreign affairs. You said on the first day of your testimony, and I quote, "I didn't want to show Congress a single word on this whole thing," end of quote. I do not see how your attitude can be reconciled with the Constitution of the United States. I often find in the executive branch, in this administration as well as in others, a view that the Congress is not a partner, but an adversary. The Constitution grants foreign policy making powers to both the President and the Congress, and our foreign policy cannot succeed unless they work together. You blame the Congress as if the restrictions it approved were the cause of mistakes by the administration. Yet congressional restrictions in the case of Nicaragua, if the polls are accurate, reflected the majority view of the American people. In any case, I think you and I would agree that there is insufficient consensus on policy in Nicaragua. Public opinion's deeply divided. And the task of leadership, it seems to me, is to build public support for policy. If that burden of leadership is not met, secret policies cannot succeed over the long term. The fourth point with regard to process relates to means and ends. As I understand your testimony, you did what you did because those were your orders and because you believed it was for a good cause. I cannot agree that the ends justified these means, that the threat in Central America was so great that we had to do something, even if it meant disregarding constitutional processes, deceiving the Congress and the American people. The means employed were a profound threat to the democratic process. A democratic government, as I understand it, is not a solution, but it's a way of seeking solutions. It's not a government devoted to a particular objective, but a form of government which specifies means and methods of achieving objectives. Methods and means are what this country are all about. If we subvert our democratic process to bring about a desired end, no matter how strongly we may believe in that end, we've weakened our country and we have not strengthened it. The few do not know what is better for Americans than Americans know themselves. If I understand our government correctly, no small group of people, no matter how important, no matter how well-intentioned they may be, should be trusted to determine policy. As President Madison said, trust should be placed not in a few, but in a number of hands. Let me conclude. Your opening statement made the analogy to a baseball game. You said the playing field here was uneven and that Congress would declare itself the winner. I understand your sentiments, but may I suggest that we are not engaged in a game with winners and losers. That approach, if I may say so, is self-serving and ultimately self-defeating. We all lost the interests of the United States have been damaged by what happened. This country cannot be run effectively when major foreign policies are formulated by only a few and are made and carried out in secret, and when public officials lie to other nations and to each other. One purpose of these hearings is to change that. The self-cleansing process, the Tower Commission, and these joint hearings, and the report which will follow, are all part, we hope, of a process to reinvigorate and restore our system of government. I don't have any doubt at all, Colonel North, that you are a patriot. There are many patriots in this country, fortunately, and many forms of patriotism. For you, perhaps patriotism rested in the conduct of deeds, some requiring great personal courage, to free hostages and to fight communism. And those of us who pursue public service with less risk to our physical well-being admire such courage. But there's another form of patriotism which is unique to democracy. It resides in those who have a deep respect for the rule of law and faith in America's democratic traditions. To uphold our Constitution requires not the exceptional efforts of the few, but the confidence and the trust and the work of the many. Democracy has its frustrations. You've experienced some of them. But we, you and I, know of no better system of government. And when that democratic process is subverted, we risk all that we cherish. I thank you, sir, for your testimony. And I wish you and I wish your family well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Colonel North, Mr. Sullivan, I think we're now at the end of a long 6 days. The questions I had cannot be answered because some of those who could have answered these questions are not here with us. And furthermore, I'm certain you'll agree with me that we've had enough questions here. I'd like to first, before proceeding with my statement, because of the call of fairness, clarify the record. Much has been said about fairness to the witness, fairness to the president, fairness to the government. In response to the question of two of my fellow panel members relating to the bombing of Libya, you said, for example, today, when the briefing conducted by the president concluded at about 5 or 5:30, two members of Congress, and you meant two members of the Senate, proceeded immediately to waiting microphones and noted that the president was going to make a heretofore unannounced address to the nation on Libya. I would tell you that the volume of fire over the Libyan capital was immense that evening. 2 American airmen died as a consequence of that anti-aircraft fire, as best as we can determine. They alerted our adversaries. When the response was first made a few days ago, I checked with the senior officials of the Senate and looked into the record. First, when the briefing was concluded, these two members did not stop at the bank of microphones near the White House. They immediately left and returned to the Senate. There they were confronted by members of the press. One leader responded, "No comment." The other said, "You should ask the president the question. He might have something to say tonight at 9. The 18 U.S. F-111s left Britain on Monday, April the 14th at 12:13 p.m. The briefing began at 4 o'clock and the bomb spelled at 7. However, a week before the bombing, CBS Evening News had this to say: top U.S. officials acknowledge that detailed military contingency plans for retaliation already exist. Said one source, they involve 5 targets in Libya. On the same day, the Wall Street Journal had this to say: U.S. officials are putting out the word that they are laying the groundwork for possible retaliatory actions against Libya for a suspected involvement in the bombing of a West Berlin discotheque. Then the next day, Tuesday, April 8th, the Wall Street Journal again: Reagan and his advisors are united in wanting to respond militarily against Gaddafi, but haven't agreed on a time or place to strike back, a senior administration official said. On the same day, CBS Evening News: 48 hours after the bombing in West Berlin, the Reagan administration had reached a consensus for military retaliation against Libya. On Wednesday, April 9th, CBS Evening News: according to a highly placed source, President Reagan has approved another possible military strike against Libya. The White House denied rumors today that a military response was already underway, but a well-placed intelligence source said that a military response has been approved. That same evening, ABC World News Tonight: the understanding now is that a strike against Libya is in the works. If it comes to that, seldom will U.S. military action have been so widely and publicly advertised in advance. Thursday, April the 10th. We're getting closer to the day. NBC Today show: administration officials say that intense planning is underway for retaliation against Libya. On the same day, the New York Times: as administration officials said, the Libyan military sites are the prime options under consideration for retaliation, and that among the key possibilities are Libyan air bases near the coast. The officials said that coastal electronic listening posts, including early warning radar sites, as well as units that pick up airplane and ship traffic, are also key targets, and as we know, they were the targets. On Friday, April 11th, NBC Today showed: the goal is to strike as many targets as possible as close to the coast to reduce the danger to American aircraft. Saturday, April the 12th, New York Times: administration officials speculated that the Walter Strip placed in abeyance, at least for the moment, a retaliatory strike against Libya, but officials declined to rule out a raid even in the next 48 hours. Associated Press: the British Mail on Sunday said Mrs. Thatcher had, quote, cleared the way for President Reagan to use British bases to launch a massive new air attack on Libya. Another AP: Italian Premier Bettino Craxi told reporters Saturday, April the 12th in Milan, I don't believe there will be a military intervention there before Monday. Same evening, NBC Nightly News: by Monday, the diplomatic lobbying tool will be complete, and administration sources indicate that means a strike could come as early as Tuesday. Washington Post: after consulting conservative Prime Minister Jacques Chirac by telephone, Mitterrand decided to reject the U.S. request for overflight rights, and the French refusal was communicated to Washington the following morning, Saturday, April 12th. And the day before the bombing, NBC Nightly News: administration officials say the president is moving towards a decision about whether to make a retaliatory strike against Libya, and White House officials confirm the president will have a special national security meeting tomorrow to evaluate the situation. Today, the president conferred with Vice President Bush and Secretary of State Schultz, both of whom are believed to favor a military strike. Noticeably absent from the Camp David meeting was Defense Secretary Weinberger, who is believed to oppose such action. I think it is grossly unfair to suggest that 2 American lives were lost because one leader said no comment and the other said, I believe you should ask the president. He may have something to say tonight at 9. From the beginning of the history of mankind, organized societies, whether they be tribes or clans or nations, have nurtured and created heroes. Because heroes are necessary. They serve as a cement to unite people, to bring unity in that nation. It provides glory to their history. It provides legends. We have many heroes. This hearing is being held in Washington, the city of heroes, the city of monuments. We have hundreds of monuments in this city. In the Capitol, in Statuary Hall, each state has honored 2 of their heroes or heroines. The state of Hawaii honors King Kamehameha, the warrior king, and Father Damien, who is soon to become a saint. And if you step on the west steps of the mall and look down the majestic mall, you will see the monument of George Washington, very majestic. I remember as a child, long before I heard of the Revolutionary War, that one day George Washington was confronted by his father, who asked, who cut the cherry tree? And little George answered, Father, I cannot lie. I cut the cherry tree. It was an important lesson to all little children, and I believe it still is a very important lesson. Then if you go further down, you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, where we honor a great president for the courage he demonstrated in upholding the brotherhood of man. It wasn't easy during those days. And then you have Arlington, a sacred place. Men you served with and men I served with use that as their final resting place. All heroes. Then you have Lee's Mansion. This was the home of that great gentleman from Virginia. We honor him today for his great demonstration of loyalty and patriotism. And as we get back to the Lincoln Memorial and nearby, we see this new and exciting monument, one to your fellow combat men, the Vietnam Memorial. I believe during the past week, we have participated in creating and developing, very likely, a new American hero. Like you, who as one has felt the burning sting of bullet and shrapnel and heard the unforgettable and frightening sounds of incoming shells, I salute you, sir, as a fellow combat man. And the rows of ribbons that you have on your chest will forever remind us of your courageous service and your willingness, your patriotic willingness to risk your life and your limb. I'm certain the life and burdens of a hero will be difficult and heavy. And so with all sincerity, I wish you well as you begin your journey into a new life. However, as an interested observer, and as one who has participated in the making of this new American hero, I found certain aspects of your testimony to be most troubling. Chairman Hamilton has most eloquently discuss them. Because as a result of your very gallant presence and your articulate statements, your life, I'm certain, will be emulated by many, many young Americans. I'm certain we will, all of us, receive an abundance of requests from young citizens throughout the land for entrance into the privileged ranks of cadets of the military services. These young citizens, having been imbued with the passion of patriotism, will do so. And to these young men and women, I wish to address a few words. In 1964, when Colonel North was a cadet, he took an oath of office, like all hundreds throughout the service academies. And he also said that he will abide with the regulations which set forth the cadet honor concept. The first honor concept, first because it's so important, over and above all others, is a very simple one. A member of the brigade does not lie, cheat, or steal. And in this regulation of 1964, the word lie was defined as follows. Quote, a deliberate oral or written untruth. It may be an oral or written statement which is known to be false, or simple response to a question in which the answer is known to be false. End of quote. The words mislead or deceive were defined as follows. A deliberate misrepresentation of true situation by being untruthful or withholding or omitting or subtly wording information in such a way as to leave an erroneous or false impression of the known true situation. And when the colonel put on his uniform and the bars of a second lieutenant, he was well aware that he was subject to the Uniform Code of Military Justice. It's a special code of laws that apply to our men and women in uniform. It's a code that has been applicable to the conduct and activities of Colonel North throughout his military career and even at this moment. And that code makes it abundantly clear that orders of a superior officer must be obeyed by subordinate members. But it is lawful orders. The Uniform Code makes it abundantly clear that it must be the lawful orders of a superior officer. In fact, it says members of the military have an obligation to disobey unlawful orders. This principle was considered so important that we, the government of the United States, proposed that it be internationally applied in the Nuremberg trials. And so in the Nuremberg trials, we said that the fact that the defendant...
May I please register an objection?
Continue my statement?
I find this offensive. I find you're engaging in a personal attack on Colonel North, and you're far removed from the issues in this case. To make reference to the Nuremberg trials, I find personally, professionally distasteful, and I can no longer sit here and listen to this.
You will have to sit there if you want to listen.
Mr. Chairman, please don't conclude these hearings on this unfair note. I have strong objections to many things in the hearing, and you up there speak about the listening to the American people. Why don't you listen to the American people and what they've said as a result of the last week? There are 20,000 telegrams in our room outside the corridor here that came in this morning. The American people have spoken, and please stop this personal attack against Colonel North.
I have sat here, listened to the Colonel without interrupting. I hope you will accord me the courtesy of saying my piece.
Sir, you may give speeches on the issues, it seems to me. You may ask questions, but you may not attack him personally. This has gone too far, in my opinion.
I am not attacking him personally.
That's the way I hear it, sir.
Colonel North, I'm certain it must have been painful for you, as you stated, to testify that you lied to senior officials of our government, that you lied and misled our Congress. And believe me, it was painful for all of us to sit here and listen to that testimony. It was painful. It was equally painful to learn from your testimony that you lied and misled because of what you believed to be a just cause. Supporters of Nicaraguan freedom fighters, the Contras. You have eloquently articulated your opposition to Marxism and communism. And I believe that all of us, I'm certain all of us on this panel, are equally opposed to Marxism and communism. But should we, in the defense of democracy, adopt and embrace one of the most important tenets of communism and Marxism? The ends justify the means. This is not one of the commandments of democracy. Our government is not a government of men. It is still a government of laws. And finally, to those thousands upon thousands of citizens who have called, sent telegrams, written letters, I wish to thank all of you most sincerely and commend you for your demonstrated interest in the well-being of our government, of our freedoms, and our democracy. Your support or opposition of what is happening in this room is important. Important because it dramatically demonstrates the strength of this democracy. We Americans are confident in our strength to openly and without fear put into action one of the important teachings of our greatest founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, who spoke of the right to dissent, the right to criticize the leaders of this government, and he said, the spirit of resistance to government is so valuable on certain occasions that I wish it to be always kept alive. It will often be exercised when wrong, but better so than not to be exercised at all. Unlike communism, in a democracy such as ours, we are not afraid to wash our dirty linen in public. We're not afraid to let the world know that we do have failures and we do have shortcomings. I think all of us should recall the open invitation that we send to the press of the world to view the space flights, to record our successes and record our failures. We permit all to film and record our space flights. We don't, after the fact, let the world know only of our successes. And I think we should recall that we did not prohibit any member of the world press to film and record one of the bloodiest chapters of our domestic history, the demonstration and riots in the civil rights period. This was not easy to let the world know that we had police dogs and police officers with whips and clubs denying fellow citizens their rights. But I've always felt that as long as we daily reaffirm our belief in and support of our Constitution and the great principles of freedom, that was long ago enunciated by our founding fathers will continue to prevail and flourish. I'd like to make one more closing remark. Throughout the past 10 days, many of my colleagues on this panel, in opening their questions to the Colonel, prefaced their remarks by saying, "Colonel, I'm certain you know that I voted for aid to the Contras." Ladies and gentlemen, and Colonel